Not something that I really don't want it to look like somebody's attack, but issues have to be said the way it is. From 1999 till now, we've had Imo Housing Authority. We've had directors of Imo Housing Authority. We've had commissioners of housing. And we're having a major housing issue. You mentioned Enugu State bringing out a law. I mentioned earlier about Lagos State. Is it that our people are not thinking?
No, see, let's get it.
Sorry, sir.
What has been happening is Imo Housing will just go and acquire people's land. Do you understand? They just come to their place now, they acquire maybe 200 hectares of land. And what do?
They parcellate
and share. They share among themselves.
and their friends.
They share among themselves and their friends. And so it is still the same man who has that money that is building. Do you understand? And so the rent is still.
In other words, it's crucial to solving the housing problem, which I believe was the main reason the housing authority was created.
Yes.
You know, I was asking you housing for all by day. I believe that these housing authorities were product of those MDG goals. I may be wrong, but they were created for a purpose.
Yes.
Maybe the people that anchored these things didn't really understand the vision well, didn't run with the vision, didn't push.
Emeka, it's simple. Sorry to cut you short. It's very simple. In law, they say, Latin, nemo dat quod non habet. You can't give what you don't have.
You can't give what you don't have.
It's not rocket science, right? You don't have it, you don't have it. So if you don't have,
you didn't dare.
I wanted to become governor of Imo State. I'm a lawyer, and they say we are learned persons, but there are things I don't know, right? If I want this state to run properly, I have a vision, so I already have the vision that there will be affordable housing for people across board, straighter and all of that. But I'm not a civil engineer. I don't know anything about quantity estate surveying. I have zero knowledge about these things.
So what do
I do? So I hear a certain Emeka Speedwell is there. I invite him for a meeting. Oga, please sit down. Because I'm your governor as we speak, right? So I need your proposal. Tell me how this thing is going to work. And then we can tell you how you will partner with the government. Because when you give people an ownership mentality in what they do, they will sow their life into that thing. You don't just come and, take their brains and walk away and say, everything is for sacrifice. No. And then we sit down. And then we call another set of people. And then we call other sets of people like minds. Who, when we are talking, they understand exactly where we are going to. So you're seeing the end from the beginning. And we have a timeline of how this thing is going to happen. We're saying in 1 year. Emeka, can you deliver this thing in 1 year? Yes, sir. Emeka, I'm serious about it. Don't joke with me. Even if you and I are friends, because I have a reputation to protect. If you do not have the capacity to do this, let us know and let's know where to plug you in so that you still remain relevant in the state. And then you sign the agreement. Now I'm tapping from your brain. You are also tapping from my executive
resources,
my executive power as governor to work. And people are seeing it. And each point in time, there is a blueprint. There is a report sheet saying we are beginning this project by January 2025. Emeka, an associate, is in charge of it, and then Vigilius runs and this blah 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 blah. These are their phone numbers. Feel free to call in and check. We are looking at an estimated time of 18 months. However, we must put into consideration one or two certain factors. People are now built into the process. So everybody is watching. Look, who will mess that kind of thing up? I mean, you're up there. And before you know it, you can even call international bodies to have a program like this to come and, tell the Imolites how far you've gone with the project. This is what you've been doing. You get people who can do the job.
Even the governor can do a media chat solely on that particular project with the contractor handling it, so that he, as the governor, if questions are thrown to him, on the basis of that contract, you will talk to the contractor, of course.
This is your field.
The level you've gotten to.
What do you think? Even though
when can you deliver?
That's why I said governance is simple.
You know where we live in a country where you have political
will.
No, people are giving political positions based on
loyalty to the party, friendship,
compensation,
vote, caste, and the rest of them.
Vote. At the end of the day,
tribe, religion.
At the end of the day, I don't like to blame any political office holder who the buck does not stop on the state. Because most times, I was with a friend, I went to his village, I said, you guys have had, this your road is so bad. You guys have had 2 TC chairmen, local government chairmen from your place. And this your road is so bad. He asked me, with which allocation will I do it?
Did he resign?
Hold on, I'm going there. He said, with which allocation will I do it? Do you understand how tight
are they even supposed to have an allocation?
Operate and do this thing. I said, well, hold on. This whole thing has happened phase by phase. This person has passed, which means that the system in this country that if from beginning the vision is not conceived with a well thought out plan to execute it, it will fail.
Definitely.
Bros, let me tell you something on this. Just hang on. Do you know that if you are on job, my maternal home, I'm from Ejime Kundugu, my maternal home is Somogoma. Last week, I just got the information last week that the executive chairman of Ugwere West is from Omogoma. Now, from Assumpta roundabout to Orioku, Okuku, Avo, you can't drive that way. So I was a kind of pitying them. One of the guys said, why would they pity us? Chairman are from this community. Now, do you know that if the chairman has cried to his Oga, for instance, you are my Oga, you appointed me, I came with my proposal to you, say, boss, we need to do this for our people. It will cost this, that. If you don't approve it, after 6 months, I resign. You appoint Doc. Right? The same thing happens, Doc resigns. You appoint this other person and he resigns. Do you know that you have a change of mindset? Don't you think of that? That when people resist evil, it tends to die down.
But the question is, how did he come in the first place? He was a student.
That's another problem. Like I voted for Sushiba Joe, our former vice president. The last time I voted him. They said he doesn't have the free hand. See, guy, this man is a professor. He's a lawyer.
An SAN, a senior
professor. He needs to be a lawyer. That is why when you appoint lawyers they can operate in every facet. I don't care about what, because I know what this exposure they've had. Do you understand me? I said this one is a lawyer. And again, on the religious side, he's a pastor. Being a pastor, there are things you go to executive council and tell your Oga, please sir, can we change this? Can we just change this? You prevail on, just like your wife will come to you.
Do you know that the biggest prisoners are political deputies?
Oh yes, now.
Have they even resigned?
How did they come to pass the day you become governor? If you don't break loose from that prison, your aides will put you in a prison. They will give you the paper they want you to read. Let's say I'm a contractor and you gave me this road to construct. You're coming to inspect the road today. I know the governor is coming to inspect the road in about 2 days.
They will do cosmetic whatever.
The front of the road and the other end of the road, we will do it. I only need to give some money to your aides that are coming. Don't allow governor to drive down. And then governor comes through the path that is well done. Tape is presented. Everything cannot will block the road with the canopy. So the other end, he won't get to the other end. And then he comes, he looks at it and cuts the tape. The road has finished. So he doesn't know
that governor is a careless governor.
He doesn't say that.
I know of a man, if they don't break loose, I still know of a man in Nigeria that will send his secret people to go to that project. That's why I felt our former vice president Shibajo came to this mother and child, whatever.
Yeah.
It got terrible. Oga didn't ask, can I see the facilities in this hospital you are putting up for your people?
What you're doing?
Can I just where are the patients? Can we just test one machine? If it's laboratory dialysis machine, whatever, can we just test something? You first of all certify that these things are working. Then you can now say, I give my nod. I call the ribbon. For a governor to say, I will get to the root of that road. From the beginning of that kilometer to the end. After all, I'm not working on the road. Even if I walk on the road, he said, of course, it's commissioning. I will go to the last. If it's not ready, I will tell you, I'll come back when it is ready. And that's integrity for you. The people around you will even respect. So, Oga, if you don't finish this work, Oga will put you to prison or you will not even commission it.
Like it boils down to the body language of the government. I want to talk about the best practices, you know, like all over the world. Especially, let me use South Africa as an example. The people are not as versatile as we are in this part of the world, but yet they found ways of solving their housing problem in major cities. What recommendation can we give to government with respect to what we're seeing in the state today? I want to start with Dr. Emeka. What we are seeing in the state today, we mentioned the issue of landlords just interested in collecting the rent, don't care who pays the rent. Whether the person will even renew it, it's not their business. They want to make ends meet. They want to recover their investment. What can be done to reduce this craziness?
The first thing is provide houses. Build cheaper, build houses, own them, and rent them at affordable prices to people.
In UK,
You have an option.
in UK, they have this thing they call municipal council houses.
Yes.
It's not as expensive as the other one. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, that's the first. If you want to solve a problem, the issue of giving me laws, those laws may not produce results because, of course, who is going to even enforce the laws? Me or you? Okay, let's look at the whole gamut of law enforcement in Nigeria. The policeman arrests you here now for an offense. Between that location and the police station where he's supposed to pay, we begin negotiation. I don't follow 20,000. And once we agree on I don't follow 20,000, he drops me. That's what we see. That's what we see here now. So who is going to enforce the laws? The first thing is government should be purposeful about it. Build houses first. Okay? These massive lands they are acquiring everywhere. Build those prototype low-cost houses. Give it to people. Let people apply. Do you understand? Give it to people, not just one person applying through 350 people and taking the entire 350. No, give it to people. Give it to citizens that are interested. They will pay rent. It's not just about parcellating areas and then you pay and build what you want. No, government should build houses and then rent it out to citizens so that maybe it is not it's not a profit, it's a social contract. No, it's not a profit.
About government does not do. I don't agree with it though. They say government does not own enterprise in a democracy. A lot of people preach that government should not run industries, government should not own.
No, but the government has a primary responsibility of government is shelter.
But the government can go into partnership with third party. With third party.
So whatever it is, let them provide that enabling environment.
You know why I'm also somehow being skeptical about government building and owning these houses? If you go to the federal secretariat, no, the state secretariat, for instance, you find out that Okachukwu didn't want to build the secretariat. Maybe another governor came and touched the top. Just try and visit the secretariat. The furniture that you're seeing there, most of the seats you will sit on are 1999. Torn. Maybe one commissioner comes, he will just pimp inside his own office. The outside, the environment, the entire place is looking tacky. So He finishes, he leaves. Another one comes, just carries one seat and brings it down there. Finishes and leaves. Maintenance culture seem not to be our thing. So if government builds these houses, how would it be maintained?
Let me ask the Aladima structures that I lived in. When I was in secondary school,
They're still in shape.
Are they not there?
They're still in shape.
Are they not there? They're still there because it's an owner occupy something.
Exactly where I wanted to add to what you said.
Owner occupy basis. Do you understand? So when the government builds, do you understand? You move in as a citizen. You keep paying
Rent to own.
Own scheme, exactly what I wanted to add.
And so you
There should be
that
rent to own.
scheme. So when I move into this house today, I know that in the next 20 years, this house becomes mine. Okay? So if you're not intentional about it, there's something you can do. You preach it against me. Ask me tomorrow to reduce my rent to 1 naira. And I'll ask you, have you reduced the cost of cement to 50 kobo? It won't work. So it will just be cosmetic approach to the matter. Build the house. Let me pay rent, and as I pay, I know that I am owning this. See, these guys that do what they call these bus drivers that
Higher purchase.
Because he knows that after 2 years,
It becomes his.
it belongs his.
He takes care of it.
Takes care of it. Yes. But if it is daily return, after 3 months, the bus is finished. But if it is after 2 years, this bus becomes my own. Go and check. Those ones are in order. So that's the first. I think that's the first.
Hold on, I want to ask you the idea of, we mentioned agent fees being competing with rent.
Yeah.
What in clear terms can government do to regulate this thing? Because estate is like, it has become an all-commerce affair. Everybody can
Everybody's an agent. Everybody
can do agent business.
Everybody.
So what can government do to regulate? I would have said what can the professional body do, but it looks like they're helpless in this way.
I wanted to, before you ask me this, I wanted to say, add to what he's saying, that Imo, we have a unique problem. This housing issue, you made mention of us having Imo Housing Authority. There was somebody that sat down, thought out something, and established that body, called it Imo Housing Authority, to take care of housing crisis. Now, progressively, on subsequent times, governors that have come and gone did not continue. And that is
but the people were appointed.
Yeah, people were appointed to just be there. To show you that, to show you that
prisoner, so
to show you that that was the first. To show you that those people, that the governors were not actually involved. They did not ask for accountability from the people they appointed. So I feel Imo lacks continuity problem, which is, so Imo has continuity problem. That is why we should be talking about at some point Imo development plan. Imo should have a plan on every sector. For example, this housing.
That a full program was supposed to.
Yes.
But go
yes. What I'm trying to point out is that if we have this kind of organizations, if we have this kind of structures put in place, then there will be regulations on how to control these problems. This thing you're saying about agency fees competing with the rent, there should be some kind of law, policies, regulations. Mrs. Ndidi said something about having houses in strata according to how much people are earning, the locations and all of that. Even when he was talking, he talked about Owerri being reserved during Mbakwe's time as for government officials. Mm-hmm. So you won't charge somebody to pay a rent the same amount somebody in Abadan was paying, because of the strata of people living in these different locations. So there should be policies. This should be very, very intentional and deliberate action by the government. The government has to say, we want to take care of housing issues in Imo, and then make deliberate moves.
If government considers it as a problem, because
That is why I said that the system has kept failing, and I don't want to begin to blame anybody or say this person failed or this person did not fail. But we should from now henceforth, or Imolats, we should be looking at leaders who are thinking for the people. Because if we have people who are passionate about leadership, then they would not undermine certain sectors. If we have people who are passionate to lead and leave legacies, lasting legacies for themselves and their children, understanding that when I leave tomorrow, my child will be here. The next generation is coming to take over. So what you are trying to do is to build for them, actually, not even to enrich yourself. If we have people like that in Imo as leaders, of course, these sectors are going to there will be deliberate actions to solving these problems. So I am recommending to the state government, even the Honorable Commissioner for Housing, Honorable Bid, to if at some time or at some point he is watching us or he hears or sees this program, they should take actions on trying to put in policies that regulates both the tenant, that protects the tenant's rights, that regulates the agency fee as well as the lawyers. Because I had her mention of the lawyers giving out their seals to some of these agents too. All of these things contribute to the housing problems we're having.
The lawyers who are agents now are even more than the agents.
That's the problem.
There's something, I think I had it in this program, the Enugu State has abolished caution fee.
Yes.
I wouldn't want to mention the detail, but I paid somebody in this state. Please don't interject people. I would mention the person's name. I paid somebody in this state for a venue. I paid caution fee. The person cancelled it. Cancelled the program. Refused to refund.
I refuse to refund it.
Refused to refund caution fee. Someone will say, why didn't I go to court?
Okay.
I got a lawyer. I said, write to this man. Lawyer wrote to the man. And he replied, says, don't pay. They did themselves had losses. Okay. What about the caution fee? So at some point, after a lot of meeting with the lawyer, I said to myself, if I pursue this case, yes, I will. He decided to.
Did you have an agreement?
There was no agreement, I don't think.
There was an agreement.
Are you sure?
There wasn't an it's a venue.
No, I mean, did you have a written agreement?
A written agreement, that's what you
The
say.
receipt was the agreement.
The receipt is acknowledgement
Acknowledgement
of payment.
So
Invoice,
when
It just shows that
I walked into this place, I said, I'm renting
contract
this
after
place
Yes.
for XYZ event.
Yes.
Am I supposed to have?
So let me give you an example. In the course of this program, I've been seeing a lot of movement and things happening. Now, when you rent a place and you want it for a specific purpose, you must state exactly what you want.
It is for.
For example, we do not want interruptions in any form or manner,
Movement.
including and not limited to movement, phones ringing. Because the moment you put it down, the moment someone does not do what it's already a breach of contract, is actionable.
Simple.
Instant. So it's very important that these things, and that's why, like he said something that really touched me, and I agree. Always see a lawyer. You see, these are booby traps. We are the ones who set these booby traps, right? And it's only a thief that knows a thief. And I will be able to look at a document, and I'm telling you, maybe from years of experience, within 5 minutes, I've scanned it and I've seen the holes.
Loopholes.
I've already seen it immediately. You may not see it. And so, but that's an aside. But coming to the question that you ask, what can be done? I've heard build houses, which is fantastic. That's it. I've also heard him talk about policies. The first thing is there must be a system. And the system will start with that housing authority. The housing authority will be commissioned to come up with a blueprint for solving an original, not what we used to have before, with a timeline. Give us a blueprint for solving the housing problems. First and foremost, start with collation of data. How many houses are even in Imo State? How many are livable? How many can be? If you start with that data, because the moment you have data, you have your solution on the way. You already know what to handle. You already know how many houses are even available, or how many houses are even affordable, or how many houses are habitable. So now the housing authority has a lot of work to do. You come up with data regarding housing in Imo State or in a particular location as you may want, or Weri, or No, or Kigwe, or Nimo. Come up with data. We want to see the data. That's one. Two, come up with solutions on how to, because when you now know the data, if you say let the government build houses, where are the available places where the government can build houses, where people can, pay rent to own? So but you need data first and foremost to even know where to map out for where government can build and where the people can build. Data first. Then Enugu, part of what the rent regulation bill they are doing is that they are leaving agency fee at 10% of the annual rent. And that's fantastic. So if you have a place where it's paying, let's say 600,000, what's 10% of 600,000? That's 60K. That's the agency fee. Okay.
What is 300,000?
So you see, because there is no, that's what Enugu is doing now.
There's no control.
There's no control.
No control.
That is what should happen, and this will fall under the housing authority, under the commissioner. There has to be a strata of reporting. So it flows from the housing, maybe monitoring and evaluation, whatever appendage you want to give it, who go out to the field, get the data, move it to Imo Housing Authority. Imo Housing Authority should be a place where you go online and plug in. I need a house in Omogoma. How many houses? It's data. It's not rocket science to do this thing, for goodness sake. Almost 14-year-olds are building apps that are changing lives. That's all. And so you move it to Imo Housing Authority. Imo Housing Authority houses the data so that the governor can wake up from sleep and say, Honorable Commissioner Speedwell, how many houses do we even have in what's left? He should be able to say, give me a minute, sir. Pam, 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 pam. Sir, 500 houses. Okay, that's fine. And can we have a cluster? He's working on the data that has been provided. Now, when the housing authority does that, the commissioner is also alerted. So he is the supervisor, he is the information hub based on the information that has been given to him. You see what I'm saying? Systems? And then you now move into the government, as it were. So you have the regulatory policies. The housing authority also houses the laws, rent control, so that when people have issues, my landlord arbitrarily, unilaterally evicted me or increased rent. The first port of reportage is the housing authority. The housing authority moves it to, you understand. And then of course the housing authority has in-house lawyers who immediately write a report to say, no, you can't do that. We know this place. This is this place based on data. Systems, if they're there, you can't even bother yourself. And then of course there is a database of all landlords. There is and I keep asking, you have BVN, you have name. What the hell? What kind of confusion? So you go back to the bank, they say, give us your BVN number. And I'm thinking, what's the essence of the system in front of you? Why do I have to give you my BVN when you can just plug in Anike and you get my BVN?
Your fingerprint.
My fingerprint. That's why I just go in there like, why do I have to? They say, well, it's because of we have to go to her. And I said, we are not going anywhere. Systemic failure, Emeka. I have just given you an idea of how we can solve this problem. Get the housing authority up and doing with someone who knows what he's doing. Give him times of reference and tell him, timelines. You don't just say, we get on for 50 years. He's doing what you told him to do, but he hasn't.
That's no timeline. What I feel the housing authority has done, what I see.
Meanwhile, have you seen where the housing authority is housed, by the way? You don't want to go there. The housing authority
is just in fact, it's an oppositor.
It's a representation.
That's the society. Just like this using generator to power their building. Yes. There are things you don't do. So all these things, the police station being guarded by a vigilante or a police K9 police dog. Do you understand me? An asset of ours being used solar. A housing authority 10 billion doesn't have a house.
I mean, the place is an opposite
of what you preach. Okay.
I'm sorry, let me come in for
Try
agents. For me, I would suggest let people register. First of all, like Madam said, data identified. I have a company. By the time I wanted to leave the bank, I said no. I've been in real estate because of I don't use this unit in the bank we call control. The control unit could be resident control officers, RCO, and national. Did check your time. So from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. those days I don't post online anything property. That is the time of the bank. Do you understand me? So from 5 p.m. you see me go to Twitter, then X now, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. I do my post. Now by the time I was leaving the bank, I said I have passion in this. I can also bring in passion and integrity into it. I approached a lawyer. If he burned, she stays in Lagos.
Yeah.
And Imo State as well. She registered a company for me, Silver Bricks Limited. Clearly spelled out what I can use the company to do. In other words, Silver Bricks Limited, where I am the chairman, it's an entity you can sue and they can sue you. Mm-hmm. We can do business of property, we can sell, we can lease, we can buy. So most of these agents you see on the mango tree, majority of them don't, the government don't know them. They don't intervene with the IRS when it comes to tax returns and the rest of them. They don't. And our people like to patronize these other parts. That's why they will tell you pay inspection fee. From here up to Airport Road, before this present regime, I take clients as far as I can.
I will commend you on
Do you understand me?
Because that was the time I remember
asking you.
I needed a property and I told you about it, and you were not in town, and you sent somebody. And what was my turn off was
you stayed a longer time.
The don't keep into
time.
Very unprofessional.
Not if somebody will tell you I'm in Afon. Meanwhile the person is in Burkina Faso and you're sitting here, you are the client. You understand? You're sitting here with it and all.
Again, on that, I go back to the person in question. For me, if I tell you lie today, tomorrow you find out that I told you lies, and you will never take me serious in life. Mm-hmm. So if I'm coming to Owerri, I will tell you exactly my point, so that it will form your opinion of whether you want to go. Why tell you I'm in Erano when I'm still at Ejime my village?
Because you see, it's a system failure.
You
know that misrepresentation even overseas you can be sued. Somebody wants to. There was a very sensational case in the US. What was the matter? The man walked into the restaurant and ordered something. He ordered a bowl of soup, and when the soup was brought, he said, "Well, there's no sweet corn in the soup," and he said, "Well, this is what we have available," and he says, "The signboard says sweet corn soup."
Yes,
that's what made me come in here, and he sued.
That is it.
Because
you must be plain as you are.
Out was what
you must be
plain to come.
From this program, we need to start this advocacy. Agents that stays under a mango tree. Some people call me. This guy asked me to pay him 15,000 before he takes me there. I will laugh. I will call the guy. Say, take this client to this point. If he likes it and deal, you get your money.
If what you're selling, if what you're showing me is okay,
is what it is.
I was going to add part of what we also need to do, as my final point on the recommendations, was perhaps, like you said, this is a movement. Maybe we should now go ahead and just sponsor this bill. Yes. We need to now. You see, legislators do not know in Nigeria that they are not responsible for doing constituency projects. It is not the job of a legislator to provide lights. No, the job of a legislator is to tell the executive, sir, you said you will give the light. Please, can you go and give that light? Oversight function. So what we need to do now is, can we agree, even as a people, we begin, like he said, we need to start doing these things ourselves. You will read that bill. You will sponsor that bill because we're the ones affected.
Yes.
If you're not affected, your brother is affected, your sister, your daughter, your child in the university is paying unimaginable housing fees. And then you have people like the caretakers who have become demigods of some sort.
The landlords.
They just come in, behave anyhow. I got that one arrested. By the time he started singing like a canary in the cell, I just told him, I said, you don't even know where you are in the first place. He took over the whole place. He decided, he even increased the rent without the landlord.
That's fraudulent. That's
You
fraud.
understand? So I think we need to now sponsor it because this thing is touching us. Perhaps we should come together to get one of the members of the house to say, listen, we need a rent. Let it be a take out from this program. That we need a regulation. This thing is getting out of hand. We are demanding it. And then organize a press conference. You know, I'm all for the media.
Yeah.
Organize a press conference. Let Imolites know that there's a possibility of having fresh air and that is breathing easy. That this thing can actually happen because really knowledge liberates, right? So let us start sponsoring this bill so that the rent regulation bill will be passed into law. And so before any landlord can decide to increase rent, certain things have to be done. That is not to say that the landlords don't have rights. But let everything be done in order. So it is our way of advocacy. Let's start driving towards that. Let's get them to move that bill because it's affecting everybody.
As part of my recommendation, maybe on a final note, I would also say this rent-to-own scheme, we can recommend that to the government. Rent-to-own scheme, you can partner with private developers. Government can as well do it. And again, when you say something that no one collects salary annually, it's still monthly. We can have monthly payment of rents. It will ease off the burden, the huge burden of somebody that pays 700,000 annually. You can tell him to pay 58,000.
There's a point I was trying to wanted Dr. Emeka to help before as a closing.
Okay.
The National Housing
Fund. You can let them strengthen it.
What impact has that fund had in the state? Because there are people in the state who are so contributed to the National Housing Fund. Are people here informed about the National Housing Fund? You understand what?
Yes, I'm sorry. I was involved in that process. Let me tell you the problem of the National Housing Fund.
Okay.
If you go there and find out the way things ought to be, it actually thrives on crowdfunding. The truth is that those funds, because every adult Nigerian citizen is entitled to a certain percentage to start building. You should be given a certain amount to start building. The thing is, it's run like a cooperative.
Yes.
And there has to be an escrow account. Mm-hmm. What forms the escrow account is the monies that are pooled together that form the collateral. So you come into the National Housing Fund scheme and I want a house in so and so. They look at the volume of what is there and draw from there.
I give you.
But it's not there today. Why? Number one, people are not informed. Number two, the government parastatals that should be helping, are not informing people how this thing works. So if you don't have crowdfunding, if that thing is not properly funded, there's a crowdfunding to fund that or to release those funds, the development bank will not release the money.
Yes.
They won't release that money. The money is there. Go and find out how many billions of naira and dollars are in the development bank. Trust me. Go and make your information under the Freedom of Information Act.
Yeah.
You nearly tear your heart out to know that the money is sitting pretty, but it needs to be unlocked, and people do not know how to unlock it, and that is crowdfunding. So the question is, why can't you let people know that this is what needs to be done so that we can jumpstart this thing?
Yes, that's exactly what we are saying. That is systemic failure one.
But people are contributing to National Housing Fund.
Yes.
I mean,
No, it's civil servants. That is taken from their salary. The issue I just have one example. At least I have a friend that retired as a director from a federal agency who are contributed to this National Housing Fund for like
all his
35 years. And right now, he's not even able to.
He can't access it.
He cannot even get 10% of what he has contributed. He worked his own sweat, his own money. Do you understand? Now the issue is, let me ask you one question. The student loan bursary, this one that started now. How many persons in the Southeast have accessed that student?
Is it lack of information?
There are too many things to it.
Bottleneck.
There are too many things to it. There is bottleneck.
Answer this one. Are there Southeast students that benefited from the student loan?
I'm not aware.
So I
don't be bottleneck. That glitch that happened in Jam for Southeast and probably some part of it could be the bottleneck. Serious. It could be the bottleneck because I'm sure some people in the north get this housing fund, they access it the way they like. The same way, of course, a child in Katsina will score 120 and study medicine, and my cousin who studied 300 can be.
You see, that housing fund is not just given to you as an individual. Take and go and build. No, that's not the way it works. The way it works is that it has been pooled, and then you let the government know this is what is this, and you're ready to build the house. They know exactly what
counterpart.
To do. But there must be. There's a system, and it's really simple. Because I took time to look at this thing. Went to Abuja, made my information. Made my findings, and I found out that people should not actually be sweating if this money, like you were talking about the sir who has been paying for the past 35 years. There's no reason. In fact, you don't wait until you retire to get the house.
No, because he had applied severally while in service and he didn't get.
You can't apply individually, sir. That is the problem. You don't apply individually.
Because I think
you don't apply individually.
I think there's a way. Mortgage bank.
Federal Mortgage Bank, yeah.
Not just Federal Mortgage Bank. My office used to be close to the mortgage bank that became Providence Bank today.
Okay.
And then that time they were moving around to market this issue of owning property. One of the marketers informed me about, in his exact word, he said it would be stupid of any Nigerian in your lifetime not to access the National Housing Fund because the money is there. Only he said, okay, all you needed to pay was your contribution for 6 months,
part,
and then you bring your own down payment, provide the property, the land, and then
the plan,
all the documents,
and the rest
and they look at what they can have give you. You have your own part of payment to make, and then you'll be able to build. I'm thinking, is it that when you see a problem, this is a problem. I have a problem. How do I solve the problem? Is it that our people have not really realized that we have a housing problem, and everybody now looks at how do we solve this problem? This issue of National Housing Fund can also be a solution. Increasing awareness on the National Housing Fund can be a solution where civil servants and other people can start building their own small houses where they can live in. And then the holistic plan of government building, like you said, government building a house that cannot be affordable, rented or concession, is another and is it that our people have not?
I have asked you this. You just said something now. I asked the question. The student loan fund, you understand, that was supposed to be national. Abi, how many people in the southeast have accessed it?
Is the fault the people ruling southeast?
How will I access something if I don't know about it?
It's information.
It's sensitization problem.
That's all.
Sensitization problem. This one is not.
No, for the exam body he talked about.
This one is not sensitization.
What is it, sir?
You see, this students, at the end of the day, there is data. There is data. They know who. Everybody in Nigeria knows. Alban has a data for students. Abi, Imo State has a data.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. I'm a student. I walk up to you, sir. So how can I access the student loan? Give me, a summary of how I can go about it.
Maybe.
I'm just,
I'm just saying.
No, but for
many students
for him, nobody knows.
There must be those students.
Have known about the states that have accessed it. The states in the north that has accessed it. How many billion they said they have?
Can I say what you said that one of our problems, this thing we have to admit and find a way to solve it, is information.
Yeah.
You see, agric loan, agric bank.
Nice loan.
These people are giving millions and
they have information on that.
Farmers in in the north.
Farmers in
We can complain from now to Abraham.
that is exactly what I am saying.
We begin to inform our people to go for this thing. Is a deliberate. I'm having signed that we're running out of stuff.
It's not only about deliberate.
It's a deliberate policy, so people are not part of the scheme.
No, let's not
moving to this direction of the economy.
When was the last time you had,
Let's not
apart from the usual thing you hear about Imo orientation, when was the last time?
National orientation.
Oh, we have Imo orientation agency. When was the last time Imo orientation agency
Comes to
and said,
inform you of something.
okay, government has this thing going on. Imo people come out and apply. There are so things. Do you know that you can actually, with this, you can get this? Do you know with this? What is it that people are not researching on what they can do to enhance the political office that are holding? The point, you understand? I want us to close because they're giving us sign that closing remarks time. So let's I want to start from by Sandy. Let's just 1 minute closing remark as we.
The problems will be solved when we get the systems and the structures up and running. And the power to do that belongs to the people. It is not about who has the money to garner votes. It is about the person who can set up these systems and structures that will ensure that all of us across board will become beneficiaries.
Comr Chisom.
Yeah, for me, the problem will be solved when we begin to have leaders, not rulers. When we begin to have people who are interested in building the state, actually. Because it is only the people who can build the state, who have the passion to lead the people aright, only then can set the system working. And then when they set the system working, things will begin to move the way it should be. Because one thing we are looking at as Imolites is a day where we come to an Imo that is safe, very, very conducive and livable for all of us. So what I'm trying to say in essence is recommending to the state government that they should pay attention and make deliberate moves to solving housing problems in Imo. Moving policies and our lawmakers as well in the State House of Assembly should think these things for us and then make moves to ensuring that there are policies set up and passed into bill that Imo people can be able now to be safe as tenants, as landlords, and as Imolites. That's it.
Well, infrastructures, building infrastructures. For instance, have a rail or a rail line from Aba to Owerri. You can actually leave Owerri and go to office in Aba and come back same day, record time. So our government, this is May, between December, if we are intentional about it and very sincere with ourselves, our government can open up our rural areas. Somebody in Ejime from my community, Agwa and Izombe, can come to Wedra, his office, and go back the same day. Provide security. Do you understand me? Build their roads. It's not rocket science. When you start, you see that it's moving. On Mondays, for instance, it's very hard for our people to go to the village. They will tell you, see that home, and even though I do drive there, do you understand me? But make it livable. Build the roads. Somebody can stay in their family house at home and come to office at Woodrow Douglas and still go back the same day. By that time, you'll be reducing the influx of people in Owerri, and you see the housing deficit being dropped. Thank you.
For me, I just want to. All I want to say, we should hold our leaders should be accountable to us, okay? Because this lack of infrastructure, all we're saying is because our leaders are not accountable to us. My vice chancellor will tell you that if the vice chancellors of the universities are intentional about developing the universities, the subventions they get is enough for them to do something and transform the universities. So what the states generate, what the state gets, you understand, is enough also to turn around the housing deficit here. But are our leaders accountable? Can we say, okay, this is we are holding this man accountable? The answer is no. And it boils down to, I don't want, he said we shouldn't go political. It boils down to how did they come to power in the first place.
Oh, let's
But I was it's been an interesting time having all of you here.
Thank you.
Yeah,